Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Overthink Final Fantasy X with Beth. Before I get started, I want to say something a little serious. This past weekend, the online gaming community lost one of its most beloved animators, Monty Oum of Rooster Teeth. It was very sudden, and I think a lot of us are still reeling. Even those like myself who didn't know him personally, he seemed like a fixture. It's been asked that in lieu of things like flowers or gifts, people wanting to commemorate him should do something creative in his honor. So, this one's for you, Monty. Thank you for inspiring so many of us. We'll miss you. Back to the game, then. Fortunately, the previous inhabitants left their flint and steel lying around. I guess they must have had extras, or, powerful fire magic, since the last person to live here was Seymour, and didn't think to bring everything with them when they were trashing the place. I mean, this place can't always have been this wrecked when people were actually living there, can it? I wouldn't be surprised if, it got beat up at some point in the past 10 years or so. So, miraculously we managed to find also some non-soaking wet flowers. Probably also an artifact of Seymour's residence here, since if they were from centuries and centuries ago, they'd kind of be dust by now. And I'm wandering around picking up a couple extra items from treasure chests because that is very important. We all know the most important possible thing is to get everything out of the treasure chest in case something should happen and you need that item, which you will proceed to keep holding on to the entire time in case you need that item. Fortunate that we could find these things, because I don't think I could manage the making fire with a string and a bow and a piece of wood thing, and I'm way more of a country kid than Tidus. Now we have illumination. That's good. It is no longer very dark, and we are significantly less likely to be eaten by a grue. On the other hand, it's still pretty dark and gothic-y. Yes, that's absolutely how you create that adjective. Don't argue with me. And there doesn't really seem to be anything to eat. We appear to be the something to eat, actually.
I need food.
Not really sure what brings this flashback on.
What do you want?
I've only ever been able to parse this by assuming that it takes place on the anniversary of Jecht's disappearance, and Tidus flubbed the call because he was distracted thinking about his dad.
10 years. I thought you'd be crying.
Who, me?
You cried.
Kinda wonder if Bahamut Kid was there in his original experience, or what? Or is just wandering through his further dreams. Dream, all that we see and seem is but a dream within a dream and all that.
Hey, wait! Don't go out on me!
Yes, haven't we all desperately exhorted inanimate objects to keep working? It doesn't work, I can tell you that from the number of times I've had to get my computers repaired, but we all do it anyway. Even video game protagonists. And then he's attacked by monster scissor hands. No, Tidus, there are no breaks for you. Only unexpected fights. Which, I guess this is sort of a mini-boss fight. He can't kill it in any kind of a hurry, so I guess it just isn't particularly impressive. On the other hand, since we haven't been able to level at all, neither is Tidus. At least he's faster than it is, though, for all the good that does him. Also, it may have friends. So, there was a door that wouldn't open before. Turns out there was a password. And as we all know, the combination for every password on every locked door is C4. And they may have guns and in one case a creepy gas mask, but they are significantly more humanoid than Monster Scissorhands. Also, one of them has boobs. Yes, thank you for carefully placing those straps to draw attention to this. Otherwise, we would have been completely unaware.
You on my side? Cool.
Yay, allies! Blah blah blah, use item. Blah blah blah, apparently you have to be really special in order to know how to throw a grenade. If you don't have the use ability, you can't even see the bit of your inventory where the grenades live in battle. One thing it always takes me a while to get used to again when I come back to Final Fantasy X from other games, especially the Final Fantasies, is that you can steal from one monster multiple times. You know, most games, you get the one successful theft, and that's really it. If you didn't get the good item, too bad. But in the case of these games, I think your odds go down a bit, but you can just kind of keep stealing from things. Which is good because Riku's gonna need all the grenades I can possibly bring her. Since right now her strength is exceedingly paltry for someone who's supposed to be higher level than Tidus is. I mean, yeah, she's squishy, but she's a thief, not a maid. She should be able to hit some things. Don't ask about how no one has advanced around their sphere grid at all in this game. Up until Tidus showed up to make that happen. Hey! Eyes! She has eyes. That's a point in her favor. She has exactly the correct number of eyes as far as we can tell. Ow. On the other hand,
Let me go.
I'm currently being picked up by my hair, and I'm going to stay very, very still. What is this? A fiend in human disguise. Yes, it is so. We kill it? Wait. What if it is human? They are the same in death. I forbid it. We bring it with us. Oh hey, there's a cute girl pressed up against me. Ow. And let this be a lesson to all of you. Sometimes she's pressing up against you because she likes you. Sometimes she's pressing up against you because it gives her a better aim on your solar plexus. Try to always know which of these is more likely. I do not recall if we ever get back into that room. I don't think we do. Which begs the question of where that door went anyway. Cool. Consciousness. So on the bright side, not an abandoned temple full of monsters. Not so bright side, on a cargo ship filled with angry people with guns. Yeah. Some things cross language barriers and angry noise points gun at. That's one of them. Come on, up you get. Okay, either brother is just not good at charades, or, well, charades really aren't meant to convey these complicated conditional sentences with abstract verbs and whatnot.
Fed! He said you can stay if you make yourself useful.
You understand me?
Ow.
All right, I'll work.
And now I get to go over there into the corner and pick up the very first album primer of my very own. Well, of this save's very own. They're kind of all of my very own. Excised
A thousand
here
ancient ruins
is the
right
sphere
beneath
grid
us.
tutorial
It's
because,
not active
oh
now,
god,
but there should
why?
still be some power
It's like
left.
10 minutes
We're
long,
gonna go down there and
and
activate it.
it
And then we
contains
should
no
be able to
information that
salvage the big prize.
you need, since you don't have to work the
Okay,
sphere grid,
let's get to work.
or that I don't
Roger.
already have. So instead, we're going in swimming! It's gonna be great. So much swimming. So little need for any oxygen whatsoever. Since you can just dive indefinitely. Which, you know, I'm fine with. It's not like drowning or air regulation mechanisms have a history of being super great and entertaining. But you kind of have to wonder how exactly these people manage it. How some other people can't, or... like, nobody seems to worry about drowning, but only some people can fight underwater. Pick up some more grenades from the piranhas, because they're important. The grenades, not the piranhas. The piranhas are deeply unimportant. Fortunately, these are video game piranhas, so they're significantly slower and less deadly than their real-world counterparts. Which is not something you expect to say about video game versus reality animals. But it turns out that a whole bunch of things, all of which are biting you at once, kind of a problem in a way that things that sit there and wait for it to be their turn before biting you one time are not. Hey, we found the computer. Naturally, because Tidus comes from a high-tech place, he's just kind of gonna wail on it until it reboots in safe mode and opens the door. At least that's what I assume it says. That's what it always says when I reboot in safe mode after punching the computer keyboard in a desperate hope to make it do what I wanted. It doesn't work nearly as well for me. I wonder if I'm punching it wrong. This place has some really good electric dampening or whatever, since it appears not only to still have power, but not have started leaking the electricity anywhere and just electrifying the water. No hydrolysis here. Even though it doesn't look like this was originally intended to be underwater, at least. I'm not sure why you'd store the airship somewhere that was meant to be underwater. They generally don't go very well together. I don't think the airship doubles as a submarine. You certainly never get to land it in the middle of the ocean. Now, more randomly punching things to turn them on. If you ever encounter a nuclear reactor, this is absolutely how you should treat it in all ways. Just wail on that core. Nothing bad can possibly happen. Also, the light continues to attract monsters who presumably think either that you're bioluminescent or really dumb. Could go either way with us. I mean, I'm not sure why the underwater light attracts monsters. Many underwater monsters are blind, but I guess this isn't one of them. I mean, monsters. Underwater creatures in reality where they don't count as monsters because monsters are not a thing. Except in as much as, you know, Kraken exist. So saying that monsters aren't a thing is kind of, are you sure they're not a thing, or are we just more used to them? A monster is, it's scary and will kill you, and I've never seen one before. I vote to reclassify all particularly dangerous fauna as fiends and just go from there. Nasty beak on that one. blah blah, trigger commands, blah blah. I'm not even gonna use them. Fortunately, while nobody's regular attacks can reach across there, Riku throwing a grenade can. And once again, we will experience no poor consequences for throwing a grenade across the power relay. Nothing bad could possibly happen from that. What are you talking about? It's the Nautilus charged me. Ow. Technically, I should be calling her a series of question marks, not Riku, but on the other hand, no. Hey, got it first try that time. Go me! And caused the monster to swim over there into a corner and quietly make sad noises. Come on. Come on. What do I want you to? Yes, that one. One where you explode. There we go. So I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts recently, and I almost half expected that to have a glowing heart come out of it, but nope, just fireflies. Each game should have a unique metaphysical weird thing that monsters turn into when they die to explain why you aren't walking around literally hip deep in monster corpses. Unfortunately, this really does not explain what people eat meat-wise. Since there are these large, monstrous animals, presumably occupying an ecological niche generally reserved for, you know, sharks and whales and large fish and things. There are, however, some small fish. Hi, buddies! So while we enjoy the rather dimly lit bulk of this ancient ruin with its emergency lights on, I'm going to talk about, you know, it's kind of weird how Riku speaks perfect Spirin without even an accent, while her brother doesn't speak it at all. He only speaks Albed, or he would have, you know, tried to communicate a little better. Like, he manages to come up with a few words right at the end of the game, but they're clearly him stretching his abilities to the utmost. So, Riku speaks it, her father does, also without an accent. Oh, hello, airship. We are going to be such good friends and go on so many adventures. Naturally, we will not get to do this until at least 2/3 of the way through the game, because that's how airships work. If you get an airship before that point, it's probably going to explode after you take it to the next plot-relevant location. Transport is very complicated in video game land. Kind of wonder if everybody else in the game has to trip flags on their personal plot in order to be able to take different forms of transportation. We found the airship. Yes, we did. We found the heck out of that airship. Tidus is such a puppy sometimes. Jumps onto land, shakes himself off. Aww.
Hey, I helped out.
He is apparently an outdoor puppy. He has not been house trained. Ew, pretend I didn't say that.
Hungry.
Only in cutscenes do people get hungry if food isn't a mechanic.
Right on.
So, Riku's current score. On the downside, she did sucker punch you and just kicked you. On the upside, she brought you food. On the downside, again, it appears to be an MRE or its ilk.
Hey!
On the Tidus, you're such a doof sometimes side, he appears to have managed to literally inhale it.
It's 'cause you eat
Don't
too
inhale
fast.
your spaghetti. It's not good for you. Not that I've ever tried this myself. Gosh, no. My breathing and digestive systems are perfectly separated,
What is your name?
and there is no chance for confusion because
Riku?
I evolved in a sensible manner.
You really do understand. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Is she wearing, like, floaties on her forearms? Because they look like nothing so much as those little water wings
Why didn't
that
you
parents
say
put
so
on their kids
earlier?
when they can't
I didn't
actually
get a
swim.
chance to. Everyone thought we were a fiend.
Sorry, you had to get upgraded to first name privileges. I mean, only
we
name
means you.
privileges? Nobody here appears to have a surname.
Who are you guys anyway?
We're Al Bhed. Can't you tell?
Well, I mean, no, because
You're not an Al Bhed hater, are
now.
you?
I don't even know what an Albed is.
Where are you from?
Xanarkand. I'm a blitzball player. Star player of the
More
Xanarkand Abes.
Ineffectual charade.
Did you hit your head or something?
Wrong answer.
You guys hit me?
Oh, right. Do you remember anything before that?
Right, we did hit you. Look, Riku, this is the first time I've eaten
So
since
I told her
being
everything
knocked
there was to
unconscious
tell
at
about
least
Xanarkand.
twice, and
About life
menaced
there,
by a variety of
Blitzball,
monsters in a
and Sin's
variety of
attack.
sizes.
And about how Aaron and I were engulfed in this light. I just said things as they came to mind. But then I started to wonder.
Frankly, I wouldn't consider me a reliable narrator at this point either.
Did I
Of course, in fiction land,
say
nobody
something
gets
funny?
major concussions or brain
You were
damage,
near Sin.
which is tidy. Yes, Riku, we have established this
Don't
as a
worry.
fact.
You'll be better in no time. They say your head gets funny when Sin is near. Maybe you just had some kind of dream?
That's because Sin is a weird, world-killing god whale.
You mean I'm sick?
Because of Sin's toxin, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, there is no Xanarkand anymore.
I
Sin
should not
destroyed
be
it 1,000
thinking
years
about whether
ago.
you could, like, retrieve some of Sin's
So, no
toxin
one plays
without dying
blitzball
horribly
there.
and make it into hella acid.
Huh?
And just go kind of tripping on
what do you
toxin.
mean, 1,000 years ago?
Considering
saw
the,
Sin attack
horrible
Xanarkand.
amnesia,
You're saying that happened
I
1,000 years
actually would
ago?
not recommend
no
it, but-
way.
come on, people will try anything. We know this. Happened 1,000 years ago? No, it didn't. Tidus, it appears that you are, back to the
You
future.
said-
Or rather, you're trying to get back from the future.
You play blitzball?
Sports.
Uh-huh.
You know, you should
Also,
go to
that's
Luca.
the only part Riku believes, because that's
Someone
the
might know who
only
you are, or
accumulation of
you might find
nouns that
someone you
makes any
recognize.
sense.
Luca?
Okay, leave it to me. I'll get you to Luca. Promise.
I have a feeling she thought up some
You'd rather stay here?
amusing yet
Okay, I'll go
nefarious
tell the
plan
others.
while
Wait
walking
here.
around on the deck in a circle.
Oh,
And I'd kind of like to find
And
out
one
what it
thing,
was.
don't
Since
tell anyone you're from Xanarkand, okay? Yevon says
unfortunately,
it's
we
a
won't
holy
get to see
place.
it go into
You
action.
might upset someone.
It may just involve being bossy and yelling at people.
Oh,
That's classic.
My Xanarkand? Some kind of holy place? Yeah, right, I thought.
Well,
Since when?
it's full of holes. That
Yevon?
counts, right?
Sin? Luca? I thought Sin just took me to a faraway
Or Tidus
place.
is having so
that
many
I could go
proper
back
nouns
in a
dropped
day or
in his
two.
head. Did
But
Xanarkand
1,000
even
years
have
into the
any
future?
faraway places? I mean, you
No
Yevon only
way.
took the city of Xanarkand, so unless there's, dream geography going on, there shouldn't really be any other place. Jeff is just the worst helicopter parent sometimes. Heal a whale parent. Dad, no. Dad, I was hanging out with my new friends. I don't want to go yet.
Whoa!
All things considered, quite phenomenal that Tidus getting washed overboard was the only thing that appears when we see them later to have happened to this ship. Like, the airship comes through fine. The named characters with unique models come through fine. It's like, Sin just showed up to get Tidus into the car already. It's fortunate that all the water on Spira appears to be hyperoxygenated fluid, or Tidus would be extremely drowned right there. Like, people mention it being a Blitzball player's skill to hold your breath basically indefinitely.
Riku!
But he's unconscious, which is a bad time to be using skills. We're just gonna keep bonking Tidus on the head, apparently, and then we can attribute everything weird he does to massive cranial trauma. Hey! A recognizable noun!
Hey!
I will now perform the dolphin greeting of my people. Reach! Kind of wonder what Waka thought at first, since it's very shortly established that Tidus looks a lot like Waka's brother Chapu, who's kind of dead. Kind of very dead. So seeing someone just kind of rise up out of the surf who looks that similar with the Blitzball, I wonder if he thought for a minute that he was a ghost, or possibly a hallucination, and tripping on that sin toxin. I wonder if that's the moment when he realizes. That's the...
Hiya.
Wow.
You wanna try that move one more time?
Yes.
Finally. Things were starting to look up.
Someone is asking something of me that I both understand and am able to comply with. Blitzball is basically Tidus' only skill. And I hope that's a magical boomerang ball, because that just went quite a way.
You know
It should be an hour
Who you
getting
play
it
for?
back.
The Xanarkin Abes.
Huh?
What team you say again?
I meant, forget that. I got too,
Oh gosh, I wonder if they were having a real Angels in the Outfield moment. Like, saying that you play Blitzball for
Or
Xanarkin.
even where I
Is
came
that like
from.
saying you
Since
play
toxin
baseball
got
for
to ya.
heaven?
But you're still alive. Praise be to Yevon.
I
All
wonder
right,
if
back to
anyone on the
practice.
team spends a while
Waka.
thinking that
Coach and captain of the
Tidus
Visayas
is some
Aurochs,
kind of
brother.
divine being sent to guide them for
What? You hungry?
reasons best known only
Okay,
to
back to
the
the
divine
village.
itself.
I'll get you something.
Yes, he's hungry again. It's almost like there's been more unconsciousness.
I felt like I could trust this Waka, so I just had to ask. It's true Xanarkin was destroyed, right? 1,000 years ago? So it's just a big pile of rubble now, isn't it?
Long time ago, there were a whole lot of cities in Spira. Big cities with machina, machines to run them. People played all day and let the machina do the work. And then, well, take a look. Sin came and destroyed the machina cities.
You know, usually that
Xanarkin
story ends
along
with,
him.
and then there was the
Yeah,
robot
that was about 1,000
uprising.
years ago. Just like you
Oddly
said.
enough, in this case,
If
there
you
was
ask me,
instead the
Sins are punishment for letting things get out
uprising
of hand.
of...
What gets me though is
I
we
don't
gotta
know.
suffer
I'm not sure how
'cause of
to
what some
extend that
goofballs did way back
metaphor.
when. Of course, we must always repent for
Oh,
our
hey,
sins.
seabirds.
That's
More
important.
evidence
just
of a
that It's hard to
non-fiend-based
keep at it
ecology.
sometimes, you know.
It was just as Riku said. Waka and Riku couldn't both be lying. Why would they?
Tidus is new to JRPGs. He doesn't understand that everyone can absolutely be lying, and it can absolutely be a conspiracy.
I'm not saying the team never existed, yeah? But you gotta figure, a team living in luxury like that be pretty soft, eh?
I appreciated the fact that Waka was trying to cheer me up.
Soft, or
But at that time,
you
all I
know,
could think
has
about was
nothing to do but
everything that
train those
happened to me.
specific
All
skills.
this started with Sin. Maybe if I could find Sin one more time, I could go home. For now, I just live life until that time came. No more worrying about where or when I was. Sure, it was hard not to think of home, but I started to feel better already. A little better. Maybe.
Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata, ain't no passing craze. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. It's not going to work. Every time I go over here, I think that patch of flowers is an item or a Albed primer.
Huh?
It should be one. It doesn't look like it belongs. Waka, you troll. Don't knock the new kid off the cliff. I mean, yeah, falling damage isn't a thing, and also there's water underneath it. But rude. The plant and coral life certainly seems to be flourishing, so I assume that whatever is filling those various ecological niches, they are being filled and not exclusively by piranhas. Things made of fireflies don't seem like they interact very well with things not made of fireflies. See, much less deadly than the real life version, because if it were the real life version, it would be one of those ones where you absolutely have to get in the first hit on it and take out at least some of its bits, because as soon as it acts, it's going to do like 11 billion hits of damage and somebody's going to die. Ha. I'm always so weirded out these days in the early game when Waka has a lower strength than Tidus, because later on he just turns into, you know, tank plus status effects plus can hit anything, and thus one of my definite MVPs. But at this point it's just like, yeah, he's got some strength, he can hit things that fly. Cool. Found the treasure chest. I was swimming underwater this whole time to see. I mean, also, the coral is much prettier than the water's surface. Now here's a weird thought. What if Tidus somehow brought the sphere grid into existence when he came to Spira, so the reason that nobody's leveled in it is because it didn't exist up to now? Not likely, but I love trying to come up with justifications for why nobody
Got a favor to ask you.
appears to have leveled until the
You
protagonist
want me on your
shows
team, right?
A major blitz tournament's coming up. All the teams in Spira will be there. It's so huge, I'm sure someone there will recognize you. Then you can go back to your old team, right? It'll be fun. What do you say, huh? Come on.
Waka and Riku have the same basic idea. Tidus is way too good at blitzball for nobody on Spira to know
Sure
who
thing.
he is. Except, of course, nobody on Spiro does know who he is.
Our team is
because
gonna rock,
he's
eh?
not really from Spiro. Oops. Awkward.
I thought then that Blitzball and Sin were the only two things that Spira and Xanarkand had in common. I wasn't too far off either.
Well, they have you. That's about it, though.
This is where I was born. I started Blitz when I was 5. I joined the Aurochs at 13, 10 years ago. 10 years. And we never won a game.
So
Well,
I figure in
after last year's tournament,
Spiran
I quit.
culture, 13
Time
is
seemed
considered to be when people hit adulthood for, like, employment purposes. Kind of the bar or bat mitzvah age. Guess what? You can join a professional sports team.
After quitting, I got this new job, yeah? But every time my mind
The
wanders.
interesting thing
I thought
about this
the game.
conversation is
10 years
how
without a single win will do that.
as soon as Waka's talking to the one person
My first
you know,
match
he's
last
ever
year
been
was
able
my
to talk
big chance.
to who doesn't know the
Something
whole
else was on
story,
my mind.
he kind of
Couldn't
strips
focus.
out all the
Nice excuse.
intense
hey.
personal stuff.
So, you want to win the
It's
next
like-
tournament. Go out with a bang.
Rather than admit that the thing that was on his mind
So,
that made
what's
him
our
unable
goal?
to focus
I
was
don't
that
care how we
his
do.
brother just
As long
died.
as we play our
He
best.
just says something.
If we give it our all,
I
can
wonder
walk
if
away
he's,
happy.
you know, deliberately downplaying
No.
or
if I
if
say what's our
it's
goal,
just that losing
you
a
say
loved one is so
victory.
normalized on
When
Spira
you play in
that
a blitzball tournament, you
it's
play
really
to
kind
win.
of an excuse.
Victory.
Oh yeah, your brother died? People's brothers die all the time.
serious?
They don't suddenly suck at sports. Actually, they pretty much do suddenly suck at sports. For at least a little while. By the way, I'm gonna win that Blitz tournament. Just you wait.
Ah, the one from the sea.
Be on guard. There are fiends on the road
Gotcha's
today.
outfit always
After
kind of
surviving your run-in
jars
with
me
Sin, it
because
would be a shame if something
the
happened now.
what I assume is leather armor he's wearing is so
Who
close
are
to
they?
his skin color.
Luzu and Gata, Crusaders.
Huh? Cruise of what?
What, you forgot that too?
Really, they're less like
Hey, sorry.
Crusaders
Don't worry
as the
about
social
it. I'll help
position
you out.
held in our history,
Cool.
and more
In return,
like
come
a
tournament
citizens
time,
militia.
I'll make
Like
sure
they're
we
not
take the cup.
really
Cool.
part of the church.
About the
They're
Crusaders,
kind of under
you
its
could ask them
auspices.
yourself. They got a
sort
lodge in
of.
their village.
But it's the warrior monks who are really, you know, the paladins and whatnot. I mean, they're shitty paladins because they've got a shitty religion, but principle is sound.
Crusade village.
They got any food there?
We'll get you something over there later. Take a look around first. Let's see. The Crusaders' Lodge is over yonder. Luzu and
Kind of
Gata are
impressed
usually there.
those stone spine things on the temple haven't been broken off in
All right.
so much time.
Over here.
Huh?
Everything
What's
else definitely has that look of
You do
it's
remember
gonna
the
get
prayer,
knocked
right?
over sooner or later.
I didn't know it in the first place, to tell the truth.
Man, that's like the basics of the basics. All right, I'll show you.
But there's, you know, the one stone building. Kind of the Lord's Manor, except that in Spira that position is occupied
ahead,
by the
you try.
temple. First, go to Angry Crane pose. And then the sun somewhat confusedly rises.
Hey, not bad. Okay, now, go present yourself to the temple summoner.
Any blitzball player would know that prayer. It was the blitzball sign for victory.
May you be victorious over the many, many forces attempting to snuff you out on a daily basis in this stupid-ass world. Alright, nobody will give us stuff yet, but on the other hand, they will leave their possessions just kind of sitting out in the road. Or, well, over here, previous householder is either extremely dead or survived and was just like, I'm gonna go move inland. This sin appears to be all about the nautical. I want to go be somewhere else. Somewhere back here isn't the second Albed Primer. Oh hey, cats. Cats with weird fins on their backs, but they're still cats. I know cats. I'm a crazy cat lady in training. There you are. It's annoying to get it before talking to the Crusaders, because Luz is in the way. So that's going to be about all for now. Signing off, and I hope to see you next time.